Hey there. Oh there. Hi there. This is Jim the Keys bartender coming to you from Key Largo. Hope all you are well. I am doing well. It is getting into mid-October. We are still in the here in the Keys. We are still around 90 degrees and humid. We had a cold front come in last night. A cold front. A little storm came in. We have a little rain. Quite a downpour actually, and the temperature dropped down 2 degrees, a little cooler, and that's what they call a cold front around here. And instead of 91, it is 89. So that's what we're dealing with here. I know a lot of other people are dealing with other things, a little cooler weather, a little fall weather. I'm just trying to stop. Let me stop this music right now. Okay. I guess you're regular listeners, you're used to that. And about my travails, or my hardships with sound, I'm trying my best. I am trying my best. So here we are in Key Largo. It was a pseudo 3-day weekend. The Columbus, I had a discussion with someone. It's Columbus Day weekend. I'm going to piss off Italian Americans and maybe people, but I when it comes to continents, I think it's kind of discovering something, unless something you wouldn't have discovered. It was already discovered because people were here already, but it was discovered by the European culture or Spanish culture or uh, Italian explorer culture, whatever you want to call it. They may have put it on a map, but there were people here already. So I can understand if I was a Native American how I really wouldn't want to celebrate Columbus Day and have that put in my face. I just, it's not a big deal if you think about it. Someone asked me the other day. They were fishing for. I'm going to tell you what they said. They said, Jim, well, who do you think discovered America? And they were expecting me to give the old. Well, I think they were asking around Columbus Day, so they probably were looking for a different answer, knowing that I'm not one for the easy answer. And they'd expect me to say some Vikings, maybe some Irish monk, St. Brendan or something like that. But I said it was a bunch of people, Asian hunters, or people that lived in Asia, who made it across the land bridge and then populated North, South, and Central America, that discovered America, and they worked their way all the way down. So they were taken aback by that. They were waiting for it. They wanted to hear the Viking one, which, hey, very well they could have gotten here before, and I understand that's a thing. I'm just suggesting that there's more ways to look at it. And it was a 3-day weekend. We'll get back to the point of the conversation. It was a 3-day weekend, and it's a holiday. It's kind of disappearing. It never really got too exciting, because what could you do on Columbus Day? Let's say you wiped out all that. Let's say Columbus arrived and there was nobody here, and he didn't bring any slaves, and he didn't corrupt a culture. Or when I say corrupt a culture, enslave a culture, then yeah, what could you do after that? I mean, it's an explorer found something. How do you celebrate that day? They don't do that for Darwin with evolution. They do that with sometimes religion, because the Annunciation. I think that's hey, here I am, a Catholic kid, and I'm trying to explain Annunciation. The Annunciation, I think it was a holiday when Mary's told that she's going to be pregnant. It's not going to be by Joseph, but it's going to be from God. And yeah, I know. Sounds kind of nutty, doesn't it? Well, I don't want to piss off. Wait, I meant to say hello to some people, and then a little later on in the show, I want to say hello to some of the countries that listen and the different places. and I do appreciate them very much. But I have a friend. I have these regulars that come in. They're from uh, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale area, Karen and Scott, and they've been coming in to see me since I worked at this other restaurant, a fine restaurant, the Encore. Now I work at the Catch Restaurant and Bar, another fine restaurant in Key Largo, and they came in regularly, and we're talking, and Scott mentions that his sister Denise in Ohio listens to the show, and this is Scott's sister, and I wanted to say thank you for listening, Denise, and he says he listens at work. I mean, what kind of work? What kind of drudgery kind of work do you have, Denise, that you have to listen to the shit I have to say? But I apologize for anything like that. And Scott asked to ask about your twin grandchildren. So, boy, I can tell I'm getting to be it's an old fucking show, old fucking man when I'm asking one of the listeners about their grandchildren. But we do have, I mean, there's got to be some fucking young people listen to it, because we have, even though, let's say on one of my statistical readings here, the demographic readings for geolocation, 85% of my listeners are in the United States. And among them, I'd say 40% are in Florida and 60% in the rest of, but there we have, I mean, it varies, depends on where to listen from. We have Chicago, we have Washington, D.C. now, Washington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. That's interesting. Currently, we have either more shows being downloaded to Washington, Virginia, and then shows being downloaded in Washington, D.C., but I appreciate both of them. Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Bay Village, Ohio. I wonder if that's where you're from, Denise. Bay Village, Ohio. And that could show up there. And the Russian Federation. Let's talk about some of the Russian Federation shows up a lot. It's kind of interesting. I mean, it's not one place, and there's a big download. So there's a couple. That means there's a couple different places where they're downloading. I hope it's not the. Well, it doesn't really matter. We're in the United States, but I hope you're not bothering any listeners over there. Let's look at some of the custom data. I'm going to look at some of the data so I can say hello to particular people. Let's see. I'll do the last week and a half. So we had about 500 downloads in the Russian Federation, 300 in India, 200 in Australia, another 150 in United Kingdom, and then we had rounded out by Poland, Sweden, and Germany. Much appreciated. I appreciate the listeners there, and we have Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. I just imagine that's some fraternity brothers of mine. Sydney, Australia. Good day, mate. That's horrible. I'm sorry. Michigan. We have Michigan. Basildon. I think Basildon is perhaps one of the owner's sisters. One of the owner's sister lives in of the Catch. Sister lives in Basildon, perhaps Claremont, Florida, and they just don't tell you what the other is. But I do appreciate all of you that listen. I try to give you a detail what it's like here in Key Largo. I get up. I'll tell you a little excitement yesterday. I'll give you an idea what some of the small things at Keys, and I've ran across this a couple times. But I worked yesterday. When I came home last night, I have this little decorative lights outside my house. Got like a laser light show shining on the tropical trees, and it's nice. But when I come home around 10 o'clock or a little earlier than that during the week, 10 o'clock at night, I find at the front of my door a kite. It looks to be about a 9-inch long centipede, and it's not moving, so I'm assuming it's dead. So I come in through the door, and my wife and daughter tell me of this harrowing tale of the centipede trying to get into the house. I'm going to post a picture of it. I have my foot there, and I wear a size 12 shoe, so you'll be able to probably garner from the picture when I show it, because I needed to show perspective, right? I didn't want to walk out with I guess I could have just grabbed a ruler, but hey, with the shoe on, it's my foot's about 13 and a half inches, so you can surmise that around 9 inches by it being a little more than half. And that is a big ass centipede. That is big. We're not used to those up north, but they're big down here. And we got the big ass palmetto bugs, which is our version of cockroaches, which are a lot easier to kill than the little ones. So people get all freaked out when they see flying cockroaches. Well, I see flying cockroaches. I don't get skeeved out as much as I do with the little ones. The big ones aren't getting away from me. The small ones, they can get away every so often, but there's always a shit more than that. The big ones just don't seem to. I don't know why I'm talking cockroaches now. Well, I'm talking about the flora and the fauna. So we have wood rats in Key Largo. They are bigger than regular rats, and they're cuter. They have ears that stick straight up. They're different from the Norwegian rat or the black rat, like the plague rats. And from one of the articles I read, and I've seen a bunch of these rats. They're big. They look like a small raccoon, or a smaller raccoon, or a smaller possum. And yes, we do have a lot of possums down here, and raccoons. And the possums, it's so funny. They come out. You see them. They're just less shy, I guess. More outgoing. Is that a thing? Maybe not. But we've seen the story. I just seen a recent story about a guy. It's in the mountains being followed by a puma, and he's kind of freaking out. But the puma doesn't understand when it's saying something to you. But that is probably something we could talk about on another show, because I was listening to a new device. It's to have people communicate with their dogs, and they use a keyboard or some kind of device that's similar to a keyboard. I'll find out a little more. We'll talk about that. But we've had these, I don't know if we call it discussion, because it's only on my side. You don't have a chance to say anything. You do have a chance to say something if you listen to it live. There's a phone number which you can call. And I don't know if maybe you'd be able to talk to even right now. Let me see. That was, okay. That brings up my phone. Okay, let me close that. We're still recording. That is good. Let me look at that phone number. So write this down. Even if you don't call today, the phone number is 407-392-4563. And that's phone number is 407-392-4563. So we were talking about anthropomorphizing animals before. I know I do jump around a lot on my tactic. I try to do it. But in Florida, and just like any other place, I guess, I guess where I'm from in Philadelphia, you have to worry about stray dogs, maybe a rat, a cat, maybe. Who knows? You got bear. When you go out in the country, you have bears. I don't know if there's a lot of bears near, but I know in central Pennsylvania there's bears and things like that. But down here, Jesus, it's nothing like you're living in a neighborhood and all something like that. And people have we have American crocodiles. Now, we had this discussion before. People say, Jim, crocodiles are in Africa and South America, but yes, there is an American crocodile, and there is a Nile crocodile too. Nile crocodile is very, I think it's very aggressive, if I understand correctly, and the crocodiles are a bit heavy. And crocodiles are mainly brackish and salt water, where alligators are freshwater. So there's a lot of alligators up in the Everglades, and down here in the Keys we have crocodiles. It's funny. I heard stories of pardon me for coughing. I heard stories of real estate agents taking people on a tour of a property, and then people were asking questions about crocodiles. About crocodiles. Why are you worrying about crocodiles? No, crocodiles do come into the canal. They stay closely to mangroves. That's where they do a lot of their eating and stuff like that. But the real estate agents, there's no crocodiles down here. That's not true. There's crocodiles all over here. The crocodiles have been down here for thousands and thousands of years. And why would you worry about a crocodile? Because the sharks have actually the scorecard is weighing heavily towards the sharks currently. Now, that doesn't count all the horrible things that's happened to the shark population with people finning sharks and hunting them down and stuff like that. But recently there was several attacks, especially in our area. One in the Keys, another here in South Florida. So we have those. We have the panther, the Florida panther. You don't hear about too many attacks like that. We got the Burmese python, is a invasive species, and the bowfoot toad, a very interesting toad that was introduced to the sugarcane fields on the mainland back in the 50s and 60s, but they introduced the wrong type of frog or toad. They were intending to put a frog or toad that ate the pests that attacked the sugar cane fields, and they may have done it, but what they did is they put in a species that had a neurotoxin that emits from it, the bowfoot toad, which down here up here they're called the cane toad. It's from Central America, and it's poisonous to humans and their animals. So especially after the rainy season, stuff like that, we start seeing more and more of the cane toads, and they're the size after an adult is about the size of a Cornish game hen. Big. It's a big toad, the size of a big bullfrog. So I haven't licked any of those yet to see if it has a neurotoxin. So it's not supposed to give you a hallucination. It's supposed to paralyze you and kill you. So and I think it attacks your cardio system. So we had. I came home to the 8 to 9 inch centipede that was trying to make a way into the house, and it's always one of those things that people, when it comes to a centipede and stuff like that, I would have just picked it up and threw it in the woods or something like that. And there's some of these centipedes. I'm going to post the picture of it. I didn't have time. I didn't want to waste my time just spending 20 minutes uploading a photo and things like that. But once I have the episode in the box, this is the live episode, in the box, all I have to do is post a picture. And you get to see that in my lovely shoe, which I took when I came out this morning to take a picture of it. And it's a shame. I would have kept that guy alive probably. Every so often I see things that are, you see animals or insects that look unusual, and it turns people say that's not that unusual. There was, 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I'm working at an outside bar on Cross Key, which is directly north towards the mainland from Key Largo, at a place called Gilbert's. Has a mailing address. Gilbert's has a mailing address in Key Largo, but it's actually on Cross Key, which is a separate key on a separate side of a bridge, and it's separated by a body of water, which is called Jewfish Creek. And one night, while I'm working, these things that looked like a longer-legged lightning bugs with similar coloring on them would just land on you. And once you discover they're not lightning bugs, I'm started smacking them because, who wants to have things landed on them and stuff like that. And don't you know, the next day, I had skin peeling from the areas where I had smacked I'm looking at my arm. Oh, I have an unknown caller coming in right now, which unfortunately I'm not going to answer right now because it's on the show. I mean, the the phone number I gave you was not my personal number. We'll just hope that they leave a message here. Hope it's not if it's not the wife too. So the next day after where the areas where I hit the bug and they left their residue of bodily fluids, the bodily fluid is kind of acidic, and what it does is it eats through a couple layers of skin, and it's like a blister. It started blistering, and where I hit it on the crux of my inside of my arm, where on the forearm, and I looked horrible, like I was an IV drug abuser with that. And I had that for like a week or so, but I found out I forgot what they called them. Blister bugs. Yeah, blister bugs. Pretty much what they do. Blister bugs. I mean, that's the simplest explanation for something like that. And say, what are blister bugs? Yeah, they give you blisters when you smack them, and you don't smack them. And they only came out like once or twice. And I think they look similar to love bugs. But yeah, that's one of those things, and that's with the centipede here. Unique insects that you're not used to seeing. A centipede, scorpions. It's not like seeing a scorpion for the first time. Or fire ants. Fire ants, these little suckers. I mean, I've gotten stung by a hornet. I got stung by like what would seem to be at the time I got real sick. I got like 15 or 20 wasp stings on my belly when I hit a nest. And but the fire ants, it's just one of those things you used to just horrible, horrible things. And you think, why that evolution do this to us? Like the bowfoot toad. The bowfoot toad is not aggressive or anything like that. You're just not supposed to eat it. It doesn't sting you. It doesn't bite you. It doesn't do anything. But if you put it in your mouth, which luckily people don't do that, but sometimes they may pick it up and touch their mouth. But that's what happens to dogs. Dogs take them and put them in their mouth. So blister bugs. Yeah, it's like, oh, what a horrible thing. You can kill me. It's like Alien. If you've seen the movie Alien, what do they call the exo alien or the something morph, exomorph, whatever the alien is. When you kill it, when you shoot it, when you get into its inside, its bodily fluid is acidic. What a stupid ass defense that is. A post-defense, your defense should be more proactive, not like, hey, if you shoot me, I burn up, and I can burn your house out. So you can't shoot me in your house, you got to shoot me outside. It's like, yeah, you just, oh, well, if something develops a defense where there's body fluid turns to acid, if they were an intelligent creature, they'd realize to say, oh, wow, they're just going to shoot us before we get close to them. We can't have them if they can. Or in the case of aliens, they sneak around and come at you quick. But it's a weird additional defense when you're that aggressive. When you can just take your tail and ram it through somebody's body, up their anus, through their mouth, and all that stuff. That long pointed tail, and then rip them apart. Just it's a stupid evolutionary thing to have, or maybe it's not evolutionary. That's just the way the blood. I understand there's people out there, but yeah, if your blood's acidic, it's for alien, it's overkill. Now for the blister bug, a short-lived thing that probably is out there for 1 week, and then if it gets caught, they're going to cause you a little blood. I guess that's like a what would you call it? A group evolutionary trait, meaning, oh well, they get everything not to. Well, why would that blister on humans? I mean, on animals, if it's landing on it have to be a bearskin animal because the blister bug goes on your skin and starts eating through it. Okay, I'm definitely thinking through this entirely too much. But yes, we do have to. We like a lot of places, we have the snakes too. We always see snakes around here. That's interesting. I had a snake one morning just start traipse his way through my apartment. I was getting up early to go to the gym and had a cup of coffee. I had a bag of trash, my keys, and I think I had a cell phone. I was talking to my sister at the time. And I'm walking out the door, and this racer snake, a black snake, comes right into the door. And I'm like, shit, I'm holding the coffee. I can't throw I don't want to throw the coffee on the ground because it's coffee. I have a trash bag, and I don't want to throw it on the ground because it's garbage. And I have my phone. So I'm taking the trash bag, and I'm herding the snake back out while I'm talking to my sister, when I just should have thrown the phone on my bed and taking care of it. But a lot of the things, even though they're exotic, they are harmless. I mean, you have like the possum down here. The possum, people say possums are, I think they're immune to rabies, and they eat tons and tons of insects and stuff like that are harmful. We have, and then we have some rather unique birds. That's it. We got the alligators, the thing. You got the sharks, which you have sharks all over. You can have them up in Jersey and stuff like that. And the crabs. That's interesting. When it's just after it's rained or right before it rained, land crabs come out, and they just start scurrying about. They're very skittish. I thought the possums and raccoons and birds were nervous creatures. Boy, crabs are nervous. They're shifty and nervous. No wonder. If a crab was a person, it'd be like there would be just dancing sideways every time you see them. They were never back. They don't back up. They just move to the side. They're just feeling you out. It's like every time you're looking at one of these land crabs, they're just like won't leave you alone. They'll just stare at you, even though you're doing your own thing. They're just waiting. They're just waiting to see. They're always on alert. And maybe it's because every so often the city may taste good, so I better watch out for him. So if you do come out here, just watch out for him. And there's other things out there. I heard of people talking about chiggers. You ever hear of chiggers? They're not down here. They're up in North Carolina. They're in the woods or something like that, and they burrow into your skin. Ugh. Nasty things. Ugh. I hate anything that digs into your skin and stuff like that. The lice, the thing, you can have things that climb on it. They can eat you if you want, sting you or eat you. But digging inside you, worms, parasites, forget about it. I guess we have those things too, probably in the ponds and shitload of stuff like that. We are now. I guess I have to take note of this. It is episode 333. 333. It is a magic number, isn't it? 333. I always thought it was a big deal that we get to episode 100 now, and then when I got to 200 and I realized that episode 300 is not much deal. I don't have any more sponsors I had before. I'm not even in that much of a hurry to have sponsors. I just want to consistently turn out good audio. And I always thought that in the pursuit of good audio, that content would follow. That it would have the content and be able to mull over requests and get people to come in and get people to call in and do things like that. So this on my notable, and it says more notable than 300, I think, 333rd show, I'd like to send out a message to people that if you are thinking of doing a podcast, do it. Don't model it after someone else's. Just go and have your idea of what you want to do. Don't worry if someone says there's someone that does it already, because no one's going to do it like you. I don't, and if someone says you sound just like so and so, make sure you don't listen to that show or get ideas from it. No insult to that show. You want to develop without any influence from the outside. I listen to shows like Radio Lab, TED Radio Hour, This American Life, Historium, Mind Valley, things like that. I love some of the, I like some of the true crime ones. The horror ones are pretty. But I stay away from comedy, and fuck, I know I'm not as funny as those other guys and stuff like that. But I'm not trying as hard either. I just want to do as honest as I can. I'm sorry for hitting that plastic thing. I am at my 30-minute mark, and I did say thank you to the listeners, and once again, thank you to Denise in Ohio, Scott's sister, Scott and Carrie. Maybe Scott will listen someday. He always says that, oh, this would be a good topic. Well, I don't know. I always thought that maybe, who knows? There is, because it's such a, we just have a huge population in the United States, over 30 million people, and in my demographic, all I need to have is maybe 20 million people that are somewhat interested in the things I talk about, and then have inside that 20 million, have them people that are adept at trying to listen to podcasts. So I was telling someone last night that I had one of our regulars on the show who I'd ask, well, how often do you listen to the show? He goes, well, I don't really know how to get the podcast. I don't know how to get a podcast. And I said, well, at this point, you were doing the show almost a year. And are you telling me you haven't listened to yourself once do the podcast? I think that is the definition of someone who's not self-aware. Now, some people don't care what they think other people think of them. And I don't worry about it because I don't get a lot. I have, supposedly there's 90 reviews of the show and stuff like that. It's doing pretty good because I think it's around 4.9. But I don't live and die by reviews. I don't ask people what they think about it right now. I just go and do what I need to do. So that's the secret. Just go and do what you're going to do. Have your idea what you are going to have. Seek out a platform to be comfortable with. I knew my dangers was how I would not do things in the past. How I didn't do things in the past was by over-investigating and doing this and doing that. Right now, I'm doing that with a car. I'm over-investigating, but I've been really narrowing it down. I still want a Bolt. I know. Why are you going for a Bolt? Why are you going, Isn't that second class? Can you go for a Tesla? I said, well, I want to go for something I can lease and not pay a lot of money and get an idea whether I like electric cars or not. And I'll have 2 years for it. Yeah, I won't have anything at the end of the lease and stuff like that, but I also won't have a lot of bills and things like that. I want to make the move. When I make the move when I make the move to buy a car, I just want to be sure that I really want to have it, because I'm one of the persons that keep it. I keep the car until until it's close to done. And right now it seems like they're the ones, if they can go over 100,000 miles and stuff like that, that's pretty much as long as I keep a car, maybe even more, 150,000 miles. We'll talk about that more. We'll talk about car selections, whether the personality has to do anything. I got to write down in the notes. Personality has anything to do with your car selection. Does personality have anything? Personality and car selections. What do you think? I think your personality has a lot to do with almost anything you do during the day. Any life's choices. Whether you pick a mate, your career, what you do as a pastime, how you interact with your friends, what kind of friends you have. So they say you're an amalgam of the 5 people you spend the most time around. So right now it's my wife, my daughter, and my dog, and a couple friends. And you, listener, even though I don't really hear from you all the time, I really would like to hear from you. My email is jim@keysbartender.com. That's jim@keysbartender.com. Please send me an email to know that you are listening. I know you are listening. I have some people listening, and I just want to find out what you're thinking. It doesn't even have to be what you're thinking about the show. And make sure, well, I'm assuming if you send me an email, you want it shared. Unless you don't want me to share something, you just make sure you put that in a text. I'm really good at that. I do honor that. I do not tell every story that I hear in a bar because I consider it's privileged communication. And everything that someone tells me, I don't tell. I have people tell me secrets all the time, and I don't reveal them. I think even secrecy survives death. There you go. There's the thing. When it comes to when certain secrets and things and someone reveals to you, it survives death. Now, obviously, there's some things that people tell you that they may be thinking of harming themselves or someone else. That yes, that's time you have to do something. But there are other things that people, when they're confiding in you, that it's most important that you do that. And I have people in my family, and I have friends and acquaintances that do that. And if you'd like to confide in me, I would do that. I would probably answer your questions as the most indiscreet way I can by not mentioning your name. But you got to, what I'll do is if you do send a text and you send an email, I will, or call me with that number I gave you. I should memorize it. I really should memorize it, and I'm going to put it at the end. But remember, if you want to send me an email, the phone number is, wait, if you want to send me an email, don't send it to the phone number, right? Well, you can email an email to a cell number. But my Skype number during the show is 407-392-4563. Now, if you wanted to leave a message on the show phone number, this is rather convoluted, isn't it? The Keys Bartender, the phone number is 305-680-0879. And that you can call anytime and leave a message. The number I gave you, the 407-392-4563, is for the podcast and when we're live. So I told you all the things. You have follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have the phone number I told you. You can go to the website, www.keysbartender.com. You can get all the information on the show. Send us a text. Send us an email. And once again, the email is jim@keysbartender.com. I'd like to thank you for listening from whatever country you're from. I'd like to have some of our friends from the Russian Federation call us, maybe from Sweden. I guess Sweden, maybe my friend Steve and the people that he knows there. And I know Sweden's going through some harsh shit because you got all the idiots over here in the United States talk about, well, Sweden didn't do anything during COVID-19, and they're doing all right. It's just like you did something that you wanted to try, and now you have people citing you as a source of confirmation. Your confirmational bias for our conservative. This is Abby. Oh, I'm going to be calling up. This is Jim the Keys Bartender signing off. The wife's calling. Talk to you later.